Good morning, I'm Adam Sexton. This last week, Governor Kelly Ayotte delivered her budget address, emphasizing again it's time for recalibration after a period of higher spending with all the federal dollars that flowed into the state during and after the pandemic. And this budget does cut spending by about $150 million. Here to discuss her budget priorities this morning is Governor Kelly Ayotte. Governor, thank you for being here.
Good morning, Adam. Great to be with you. Thanks.
So it's interesting. One of the top discussion items in this budget doesn't necessarily have to do with dollars and cents. It's the bail law and the release of this stabbing suspect in Manchester. There's a bill in the House to roll back parts of the bail law, but you are building in an insurance policy in the budget trailer bill in case that debate doesn't work out in your favor. Explain.
I am. It's time to fix this bail law. We just had this very horrible incident here in Manchester, downtown Elm Street, someone who was stabbed 13 times by someone who was also out. He had already been convicted of a domestic violence offense and had a suspended sentence, and a magistrate just let him free. It's really crazy. We also had the incident with a Bedford police officer not too long ago who was shot by someone who had been out 3 times. It doesn't make sense, and so it's time to fix this. So there's a proposal pending in the House, but I also put it in the trailer bill with the budget because it's that important to public safety. We cannot allow this to continue.
In the discussion of this Manchester case, some of the defenders of the current bail law are saying that this suspect acted in self-defense.
I don't get it. Why are you actually trying to defend people who have committed harm and throw victims, put victims in a position where we're not protecting them? So I just don't understand it. I think what they're trying to do is defend their own bad votes on this failed bail law, because we have so many cases where unfortunately law enforcement officers have been harmed, members of the public have been harmed. Like, how many cases do you have to hear about before you just say, listen, this isn't working, let's fix it? This is a basic function of government, keep people safe.
Yeah, in this debate, on the House floor no less, this is as much political as it is policy. What was your reaction when you heard a state rep, the same one who said that there are, quote, seductive cases here, argue and defend this suspect on the floor of the New Hampshire House?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. That's part of the problem. Instead of really making sure that the public's protected, that law enforcement is protected, that victims are protected. I mean, this area where this stabbing occurred, by the way, if you read the affidavit that the police put out, this individual who's committed this stabbing was chasing the other individual around. So, I mean, let's use our common sense here and let's stand up for victims. Let's make sure that New Hampshire's safe. And I think, again, trying to defend bad decisions already made, let's just fix it. Let's work together and keep New Hampshire safe. The
rep who was defending this suspect also made the point that Manchester police had the opportunity to argue that this individual be held and did not. How do you respond to that contention that the police are somehow responsible for the outcome?
It's absurd. The police actually, they've been at the table with me to fix this law, and they expected the magistrate to be better as well here. So the magistrate lets this person out on PR. It doesn't make any sense. So let's go back to a system that keeps the state safe, and when you have a violent crime, holds people until they're, coming and appearing for trial. But we're not doing that right now.
On education funding, a lot of people are interested in the mechanics of how this proposal to expand education freedom accounts will work. You want to extend it to everyone who is currently in public school. Eligibility had been tied to a percentage of federal poverty. So under your plan, existing private school students that don't have EFAs, they would not be eligible. That's
right. This is making actually right now, up to 350% of poverty, that remains for lower income individuals to have access to EFAs. But this is expanding it for all of our public school students. And if the public schools, listen, I'm a product of public schools, I'm a big fan of public schools, but for some students it's not working. This gives them an alternative in education and make sure that every child succeeds in our state.
What is the price tag for this kind of expansion of the program?
Well, I can tell you that it's in my budget. We have funded it, and that price tag in the budget is about $11.8 million. It's very sustainable, and I want your viewers to understand that we are in a position where we're putting more money into public education in this budget than ever before. We are putting more money into special education in this budget. So I believe strongly in education and a great education here in the state of New Hampshire. I was born here, grew up here, Joe as well. And so this budget sends more money to education overall than ever before.
Would a public school student be able to access an EFA for purposes of technology or tutorial educational experiences and remain in public school?
You know, the way that it works is that you have the opportunity if you want to go to a different setting. So it's not a menu, it's a choice of where are you in the best setting in terms of your success. And I think this is going to be a great opportunity for kids that I know our public schools, they do great work, important work, but it isn't the right venue for everyone. So we just want to make sure that we don't leave any children behind.
As private schools gain more and more access to public funds, should they still be able to reject a student for any reason, even if they have, say, special needs?
Well, there are all kinds of private schools, by the way. There are some private schools that focus on students with special needs. And so that's one of the great things about the variety of educational opportunities here in New Hampshire is that there's different contexts and different opportunities and different focuses so that parents can look at what is the best setting for my child to reach his or her full potential.
On the school cell phone ban, it sounds like you're taking a more targeted approach now. Obviously, the law would change as you propose it, but you also want to provide money so that the schools can design their own programs based on their own needs.
I do. So basically, my proposal, which is in the budget, it does not make teachers the cell phone police. So, for example, Claremont, they already have a program in place where the students park their phones at the beginning of the day and they put them in a pouch and then they pick them up at the end of the day. And what they're already seeing, Adam, is reduced distractions, reduced bullying. At lunch, the kids are talking to each other and they're not on their phones all the time. It's been fantastic. So that's the policy that we have in the budget. But we also know we wanted to give the schools some help to be able to put it in place, but they can design it how they want that policy in their school. But again, it's also keeping teachers focusing on teaching and not, you know, kind of saying, where's your cell phone?
Shifting gears a little bit here, it's been a month or plus since you announced your Commission on Government Efficiency. I know it operates differently necessarily than the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, down in Washington, D.C. But we've heard from Elon Musk now in the Oval Office. Isn't it time that we hear directly from some of the top leaders on your COGE?
Oh, well, certainly we're going to have a public meeting that is going to be scheduled, I know, very soon and announced. And they're very open. You know, they're complying with state law in every way, and I did an executive order. It's been very clear who's on it, who's involved, and every recommendation will be public. What I choose to adopt or what I choose to put forward, I'll take public input from. So it's been a very open process. You know, we're soliciting feedback online. Anyone can submit their comments, and also from, for example, the SEA, our state employees, we want them to give us feedback. We just want government to work better for people always. I mean, we should all want to do that, and that's really what the COGE is focused on. Even before that public meeting, though, should we hear about their priorities? So should they say something publicly about that? Well, I think that their priorities are pretty simple. They're to make government better in every way. Look for ways that we can do things better. And they all come from different backgrounds, and so they will you know, bring forward ideas. They'll work with each of the commissioners, and we're asking our commissioners for ideas too, and the state employees. So if I were to say, go look at this, that would limit the creativity of this commission. I want them to have creativity to think, oh, we've never done this before. That's the whole purpose of having outsiders come in and look, so that we aren't just being caught up in the same way of thinking. I want to quickly get this in before we wrap up here. As DOGE cuts all these federal jobs, in some ways this is a conservative's dream of what Elon Musk is doing right now, but are there positions being cut in New Hampshire that you worry the state will have to pick up some of the slack? You know, New Hampshire is focused on delivering for the people of New Hampshire. That's what my budget does, and that's my focus, and I'm confident that this budget that we put forward will do that. We protected our most vulnerable citizens. So, you know, the federal government will address what they're doing, but our focus is New Hampshire, always delivering for the people of New Hampshire. All right, Governor Kelly Ayotte, thank you so much for joining us on Close Up. We'll see you in a couple months. Thanks. Appreciate it. Great to see you. All right, we'll be right back with an exclusive first look at a new study on the cost of childcare in New Hampshire. Stay with us.